We are blending the comfort of having Aspas on Jet where he thrives with still integrating the necessary meta components of the Breach. Tejo, Aspas is in so quick off that fault line. The salvos. Leaf tries to reposition. He's gunned down instantly.
Aspas, though, has to linger, caught inside some of that util. Now the activity comes from B main. Jorg wanted the long-range fight, but Aspas on the ghost, a little too crispy with it. G2 down to 2. Both, though, are in the vicinity.
Goes for the jump peek, so Verno can follow it up, get an easy kill. Jonah pressured by the drone, forced back as the spike is going down. Verno with the trade again.
Yeah, Trent, unexpected, I think, there for the attackers. They'll eventually be able to get the spike down properly, and Jonah will play off a flash and a recharged fault line to come in for a retake clutch.
All right, Shannon posted up in hell. Verno would love to draw the attention to him, and he does just that. No awareness of Shannon's close-up position in hell. All too easy for him to pick up that kill and get MIBR another pistol round win in the series right now. Overall, they are at, is that 4-1 on pistols?
Pretty good. 80%. We like that.
Not bad.
Here's that play, Aspas quickly into heaven. The numbers really favoring MIBR towards the end. Shannon flying in wait. Perfect beginning on this attack side already. Phantoms for Aspas and Verno, they are going for it. G2, don't fancy a stinger by here.
Just a couple shorties, one sheriff for Jonah. Aspas happy to wait out anyone pushing down mid, and he may just get his wish. Valen has pressed up into that corner. Surely MIBR re-clear that.
Leaf is spotting for him. So now, how does Valen go about it? Off angle! There's the flick. Aspas always seems to have it. Snappy as you like.
He knows he just hit the stunner. Had to put the spray down after that. Yep, had to. All right, pivot into B main now from this MIBR team. Should cement them a free sight here in a moment, unless Leaf does the unthinkable with that shorty. But the thinkable would be that he goes 1 for 1. That's his hope.
Extremely thinkable, that. Okay, there it is, 1 for 1. You called it. Dr. Valorant has spoken. And that's it, really, for G2 on this site. Come back in now as Sheriff, Shorty, and a classic. It's a tough ask.
Now MIBR would just love for either Cortezia or Shannon to go ahead and pick up that one stray weapon, as those are the two guys with the pistol. MIBR want to be able to buy as many rifles as possible for that round 3. But they're not out of the woods just yet.
Yeah, can definitely go for this as G2. You've got a bit of time. Fault line there, they're definitely committing. G2 now will try and unravel the hold MIBR have on this B side. There's a fight happening in B main. Jorg, though, just doesn't get any step to it whatsoever. Classy stuff from Trent, but now the odds really feel like they're working against him. Cortezia low. Don't do it to him. Okay, buddy. Sometimes it's good just to, you know, sit and think and not react straight away.
Oh, Cortezia was just a moment away from being able to carry that rifle over, but he can't. So G2 will be more than happy.
Kind of get away with murder there.
Absolutely. They'll be happy with all that economic damage that they were able to.
Oh, that was close.
The deal.
We did get that from Jorgamo yesterday. Ridiculous knife kill.
Caught. Oh my god. That's too funny. All right. MIBR, what are they cobbling together here? They've got a couple rifles on account of the players who bought nothing. They literally have just recreated last round's buy into this one. Oh my god, Jaw. That spam was perfectly placed.
Yep. Not hard to see no Sheriff player, so not something you're probably writing home about if you're in MIBR. I think still proceeding apace. You just haven't had any good progress through the middle part of the map. Smoked up by both sides. Aspas might still look to operate around that dark cover as he peeks into the corner. Jaw, of course, has to respect this Teo util. He'll have some to play off himself. Still a clear mid as far as he's concerned. All right, fair enough.
He is happy to just keep taking these fights, play around the smokes that are being cycled top mid.
That rifle gets cycled over to Artazine now as well. But if you notice, it might be haven't made any big lunges across the map. They're still trying to work on mid. Trying to construct this G2 hole, but Jaw is everywhere. And he's credited with both kills in the round.
G2 have allowed MIBR to get this space in B heaven. Leaf playing on that common off angle. It's just such a strong one, however. Inferno is shot down. Not without being traded by Cortezia.
Oh, TP just a little too far forward. It was on the corner. That little mechanical misstep is easily punished by Valen. And there's G2 walking out with 4 rifles from their first buy.
Now we'll get to MIBR's full buy, rifles for all 5, not just 3. Jaw was ruthless with his willingness to fight in mid there, just spraying through the smoke constantly. Holds that little gapped angle on the left. You can kind of leave open with the dark cover if you want.
Yeah, he sort of
have someone post up.
reposted back into that room after the salvos came through, and Aspas didn't have a timing to punish it.
This is all of them out here gathered up outside of A. You can see that Artzin has the lineup ready for the standard fault line here into heaven for Aspas to play off of. Doesn't connect onto anyone, but they've gotten this space.
Okay, Aspas should be able to get to Rafter here. Should he choose? No, it's going to be backside instead. Followed up by some of those more common defender sites cleared out by the salvos.
We're into a full 5-on-5 retake situation now. No ultimates on the board just yet. Cortesi has opted to play very far forward in this dark cover. He's about to be revealed, and Aspas wants to help from the other side, but he's flashed up, exposed.
Knives out, but this is getting a little awkward even for Aspas' liking. Yeah, he's got to concede the position. Verno knows now they're getting chased. G2 starting to get aggressive here on ramp, and it's getting ugly for the attackers. Verno gets his, but at least got an off angle. And Artazine Cow is alone. Takes one, but that's all she wrote. And there goes the money of MIBR. Things get a little more uncomfortable now.
The Brazilian side, they were just unable to fight for any space of significance. It was really only Cortesia up in heaven there. And then you could see, yeah, Aspas is trying to fight up ramp at the same time, but it just doesn't work out. G2 overwhelmed them with numbers. The flash onto Cortesia was perfect. Fraud feeling some early frustrations here.
It feels a little uninspired for MIBR. Like, as soon as rifles have been a factor, they milled around mid a bunch that previous round. Aspas down early. They mill around A main, and G2 just take a pretty aggressive timing to overload ramp with 2 players. So the message might be, MIBR needs to be more proactive, at least play at a higher pace. Aspas tried, but there was nothing to find.
All gathered up outside of A again, or MIBR. Frankly, we saw a lot of straight up 5-man A play against Sen from them yesterday.
Is Jonah get spotted on that shoulder pick? It's likely. Gate crash set up by Jorg. There's a pretty heavy mid focus for G2. Just Jonah at A, just one token defender in heaven, which means the push through A main is technically open.
G2 was so convinced of something happening in mid, to the extent that Jonah was also ready for a fault line there, but now off that jump spot, sees Artzin. That is going to give the game away. The breach is over on A ramp. G2 are pushing behind them already.
Jonah has board about 7 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at the position of the G2 players in sewer. They're getting close. And there's a teleport into sight. Okay, Valen denied.
Valen will still get there on a decent timing, though. MIBR, I think they're trying to set up in Raptors, but here comes Jaw. Shen the loose end, now down. All of MIBR trying to group up here in heaven and the site, respectively, in lead. He's off the boil. Aspas gets the
this
better.
Armageddon is so good. It's forcing all of G2 out, but Jaw's collecting the kills backside.
G2 will fight in the sun or inside. Doesn't seem to bother them. Aspas and Cortesia here now have to go for it. Aspas, just a wayward bullet would take the man down. Now it's up to Trent. All of a sudden, this has fallen apart. Aspas knows approximately Trent is heaven side. 7 bullets left. 7 kills for Aspas in the game. What a point of the takedown!
Oh, the extra step taken to the right.
Converts for the Red Bull clutch. And a pretty important one at that. Now MIBR can start to build that bank a little bit more. Look how this played out.
Aspas is on fire today. Getting that first kill, and then from heaven, eventually just needed 1 bullet to connect on Jaw while he was sticking it.
What was it, like a crouch into step? Sick movement. Knock, knock.
G2 still have enough cash to buy, though everything is going to be on the line for them here.
And now that sort of mid-play they were conditioned to expect that last round is actually happening here. Aspas gets that high ground. Boing, boing. I like this though, getting active on the A side, RG2. Shenum gives it up. No insert left here for G2, but they're happy enough.
Because all of that pressure came there, MIBR, they are ready to take space elsewhere on the map. And they've worked up mid, they've worked into Male. Leaf has been a nuisance on this exact off angle on a prior round. He's hoping to get that one, fall down, reposition.
Standard aftershock there. Trent already off that line. Armageddon coming through. MIBR got to be quick about it. And Lee just picks him off. Says, haven't you learned to eat your greens?
Live munition.
Trent forced back by the sun temporarily, but only 40 seconds on the clock. The rest of G2 are running over to this B side, just denying anyone even being able to pick the spike up.
The crossbow fault line is nasty work. Set up by Jonah. Iverno, again, well, we've seen this one many times before.
Trent had such an excellent usage of the Armageddon into the salvos there, having it forced the MIBR players forward, and Leaf had already repositioned into Hell. He just had the perfect setup
10 seconds left
to get those kills as they were forced out into the open.
And both Armageddons were nasty. Previous round was Verno forcing the two G2 players out of screens. This time it forces MIBR to get running.
And you know, there might have been a timing window there for MIBR to just accelerate through Male, get into B, but there were maybe 5-6 seconds of wait time after Shenum had absorbed that aggression on A that allowed for Trent to get close for these repositions to occur. And by the time they actually went in, they were forced in, and then G2 were set up in some good positions to deny them.
Reasonable time to take a timeout here. MIBR probably with enough money to force Guardians if they would like to, or just like half armor a lot of the time. The Rolling Thunder here for Artazine is on deck. Yin Shenum not quite able to get into the game as they would have liked ever since the round 1 and 2 after another classic standard MIBR pistol win. It's been a little quiet on the attackers front.
This is going to be MIBR now putting their economy on the line when we get back into this. Fraud has already had some very successful timeouts for the team in this series. He's back on Lotus, actually at the beginning of their attack half, when he called his first timeout for them, that they were able to win a string of rounds after that. See if he can have a similar effect here early days on Split. Though MIBR not nearly in as dire as a situation as it was early on Lotus.
And it might be time to start to see some of that mid-rounding come to the fore. Artazine's in a hell of a matchup. He's played, what, 1 BO5 as IGL on this team? And Valen, of course, more recently, was a global final in a 5-mapper, calling that one against T1. And yeah, many, many of G2's games go the distance. That's been a theme for them last year as well.
It was all dominance, it felt like, to start off with, and now they have been getting tested by every single team, every series. And aside from that loss to Sen in the upper bracket, they have met those challenges, beaten them. That's why they're making it to Toronto. That's why they're still in this tournament. No one has made it easy on them, though.
This time, that characteristic mid-push from MIBR is going to be a little stifled with the Viper's Pit set up. Jog is on the walk. He's got backup too.
He's picked up the operator out of this timeout.
Cortezia, though, much more well-behaved than he was on that Haven map, and still it's not enough. The discipline was there, but Valen steps up and forces him to fight.
We saw Sentinels yesterday exploit Cortezia being on his lonesome in B main frequently. He needs to not succumb to that same fate against G2.
He's the one to try and get active a lot in these early rounds. Might need some more variation though, as Aspas is just hammered with so much util. This is definitely shades of yesterday's game for MIBR. Losing that loose player on B, their fast hits getting stuffed by util. It's like a nightmare that repeats itself.
I love this from G2 out of the timeout. Cool. We're going to buy the op. We're going to push up into B main, take control, do something different. And whatever plans MIBR had heading into that, we don't even get to find out what they looked like to any percentage of an extent. I mean, they were just immediately dismantled.
So that first push. Cortezia, they're just losing out to pick his advantage, perhaps.
Aspas looks like he was stunned up there by Trent. Valen just gets the spam. It's just, it was as good as done when Aspas is isolated in the site and picked off.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to give a bit of a yeah. So we have to wait, I guess, a couple of rounds until we see what Frog was really calling for. If they try and run it again. Aspas goes for a fight. Those stingers are plenty now for MIBR. really like a kicked anthill on this A side of the map.
Jonah's caught close right now. Yes, he has this wall to tuck into, but it's going to go down. They're surely going to clear this.
Yeah, Verno. Whoa! Out of nowhere! Verno just pole vaulted on Jonah. And here's Aspas getting deep, getting amongst it.
He's gotten into the back lines, and Artzin cleans up the last leaf on the flank shutdown.
Very cool. Thrifty there for MIBR. Say that without a hint of sarcasm, it was 4 Stingers brought in to start the round. End up picking the right side there.
Yeah, they picked the right side, and finally someone from G2 to MIBR's liking has actually moved up on ramp early. They were in the range of that fault line to get caught. Aspas finds the initial kill and then just sprints into the back line.
Nice! It's like you come home at 3 a.m. and Aspas just turns the light on and is just sitting in the armchair. I've been waiting for you. Set up in their spawn.
Oh my god, instant fight now from G2 in main. All of the players stacked up with that util.
Again, it's been so nice. The combo of Trent's util is there. However, perhaps the defenders have overstayed their welcome. Burner's able to cut them down to size and even up the odds. Jorg can't post up on that rafters angle. Artazine slaps him down instantly.
He just didn't expect him to be in the sight that rapidly. Valen weak. Verno hungry for more. Knows he got the take and wishes he bought a Vandal. It's down into the 2 versus 2.
Spike, though, is down. MIBR trying to play off this together. 2 flashes as well. In hand for Artazine. And Leaf has finally arrived on the scene. The cavalry's here. He's very healthy. But he's got to put it together with Valen, who's still snaking his way into screens. Well, not so healthy anymore, is Leaf. Wants to try and take this fight without backup, by the way. Valen is not there until now.
So much damage done to Leaf. Both G2 players weak.
Time is ticking. Valen slammed, and now G2 have only Leaf to account for.
Oh, and he just barely gets into the range of the stun.
No time at all. Leaf at 11, Artazine artfully dodging the corner.
Just staring at him.
Just trolling the guy. Shorty puts it to bed, and that's 2 in a row for MIBR.
These hits on A are starting to look real nice, but I love the response early from G2. You said it, they overstayed their welcome. They find 2, and they've committed here close. And as soon as that wall drops, wide swing from Verno. The players that got G2 the advantage fall themselves. Just little things over and over cascading to their defeat in that round, because then you had Jaw trying to post up on main but didn't realize it was too late, that Artzin already beat him to the punch, was in the sight, was on the angle. He goes down. Then we're suddenly into a 3v2. It just keeps crumbling from there. MIBR have taken the lead now on attack split.
Something we heard from Josh RT in between maps is that he would have liked to have seen his boys be a bit more proactive. A little bit more adamant about getting forward, or a little bit more confident. And that's something that Leaf was trying to call for during the games yesterday, as Ender had the cans on, was listening to their comms. They definitely feel like their mortality has been kind of exposed to them over the last few weeks. Just how close these games have been. Now maybe that same level of confidence isn't there. Or maybe it's too much in that kind of round. They've got to find a balance.
This was the map as well. Yesterday that Leaf dropped 28 and 12 on, playing the Viper. An obscene stat line.
He started so well in this series, but the second half of Lotus, he started to fade back in the periphery, Wyatt.
So far, solid here. Nothing, unbelievable, nothing bad. He's playing just a solid game at the moment. But when someone is playing at a level that astronomically high, you have to keep your eye on them and just tally where their performance is going.
Yeah, is that more obvious if he goes off the boil, right?
Yeah, 100%. This is a full buy for G2. Aspas fast into heaven, and oh my god, the stray bullet. Leaf killed by the missile as well.
Literally shooting in the dark. And Leaf ended up getting picked up there, lingering. I think the rafters side got taken down by a salvo. Here we go, all over the B site.
This round is just as good as done, unless G2 are able to catch someone from MIBR unaware.
Will Trent check this as well? Or is he confident enough that Jorgmo crossing? Yep, well, they've given him all he needs to know. In comes Verno, knife in the back at 2 Brutus. It's on Jonah. And already it was looking like it'd be unlikely they'd try with 3 guns. Even less so with 1. I think Jonah's seen enough.
They went forward just hoping that someone on MIBR would overextend, that they could maybe find a kill, find a way back into the round, but the odds were always going to be stacked against them.
Well, it looked like he was going through the motions, but Jonas, crispy with it. Oh, okay. Put that away.
That timing is so crazy, and he's shot down by Cortezia.
Pretty important kill. MIB are obviously happy to chase into that. Look at the money on G2. This is now starting to snowball out of control for them.
That shot on Valen is so silly. It's so ridiculous. And then there were follow-up missiles that came through from Verno. Find the kill onto Leaf.
And that's what it's like to coach Aspas, I guess. Some of those random moments just tend to fall in your favor.
Yeah, they don't feel so random.
Yeah, not with the amount
After
we've
you've seen them hundreds of times over the years, do they?
Check.
But they should be random. That's not how the game should be played. G2 have got a half buy into this, just making sure they have enough to afford. Maxed out on the last round of this half.
Okay guys,
Aspas
kita
spotted
nonton
there.
lagi guys. Tadi
Gets
aku
ahead
beres
of it.
makan guys.
Jorg here just gate crashing out. Doesn't quite feel confident handling what he feels is probably a large number of MIBR players. This is going to force Jonah out into the open, but he's ready for it. Apparently, cosmetic stun, anybody? Artisan on the line. It's going to be traded with an overload of players now. Jorg, with nothing but the ghost, has
What? There's no way, brother Pooley.
I mean, everybody is just blinded up by the paranoia.
Okay, let's just settle down.
Leaf here gives his position up, and
Salah
Verno is able to convert. Not too shabby for MIBR, despite G2.
Oh my god.
Last round
That
before the
was
switch.
frightening for a moment. I think that paranoia connected onto 4 players, one of which being Valen's teammate Jaw.
Some collateral's acceptable. So Shenham, of course, who was able to just, cool things down a bit. Things got a bit hectic. Round ender there from the boy Verno. Here's the last round of the half. Ultimates of note, plenty for G2.
Full arsenal for G2 to try and get a 5th round on the board. Doesn't feel like it needs to be said, but Split, you need more than 4 on defense when you're going to attack. It is miserable to start down at a deficit like that.
As has been the case in many of these rounds, Aspas, there it is. Leaf returning to that heaven position after giving it up because of the util. Aspas not ready for it this time. Where is this TP headed? Maybe just for info, into screens, cancelled. Cortezia sees enough, and this has got 2 players from G2 drifting over.
Yeah, that's making it seem like there's going to be a hit towards A, but it's all of MIBR gathered up running through B main. Not an area of the map that they've been heavy-handed with. Prior to this final round, Valen repositioning in male. Looks like he's going to be able to catch Shenham. The spray is wild, but it pays off.
Still 3 up now for MIBR. Have to find a big turnaround here. As that Armageddon comes in, Jorgamo dances amongst the napalm. Verno got picked up by it in the end though. And here's Trent doubling down. It's on Artisan. And he can't see a darn thing. 4 players involved in that kill. Jorgamo with the credit.
4 ultimates used, and the round is also won for G2. They'll be happy to leave the half with that final one, but they won't be thrilled about it just getting them to 5. You hate to start your split attack side down. MIBR on their map pick. Looking much better than they did yesterday, earlier on against Sentinels.
Such a brazen post up there by Leaf as he heads back up the zip line to take the fight.
Barang.
I'm just jumping up and down while he's full stunned.
That is correct. Yeah, Aspas definitely gets affected by like a fault line as he gets on in there. Well capitalized on it, I've got to say, and in keeping with the previous 2 maps, it's been a competitive first half. But like Wyatt said, GT would have liked a little more than 5. A pistol, though, in the second half would fix that right and good. So stick around, let's see if that's the case for the second half of Split.
I don't really like committing to things. I'm scared. But when Verizon announced that I could lock in a low price for 3 years, I mean, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Can you hear me now?
Sambil menunggu. Salah ding. Ngebayang lihat gak bat monitor. Monitornya rada ngebayang, kau nyadar gak? Kayak patah gitu. 14.40. Iya. Kalau diturunin ngaruh gak ya?
Minum hidrokoko berlebihan bikin segarnya hidup berlanjut.
Sale now. We've got a QR code there to scan to secure your spot at the second global event of the year. It's on the North American continent. The best surely being set here from Americas. And honestly, it's interesting because a lot of those top teams from other regions, EDG for example, not going to be there. It's going to be a wild
Boneka si
time.
Aspas.
We do have the lone Canadian
bukan
Joby
ya?
on stage right now.
Apaan ini?
Feels at home on the rink with the
penguin.
Zamboni smoothing out the ice. The one single Canadian player, the in player that will be at Masters Toronto.
Yeah, hopefully he gets a bit of a hero's reception.
Live stream
G2
di
have had to
dalam
fight
live
pretty
stream.
hard. Does that look a bit
Gabut.
laboured at some points? Get there, bro. Okay.
Sedang mencoba.
Maybe there's some bumps and mounds on the
Ini
ice.
jadi rada
No
kusut
worries.
lagi loh, Bat.
That QR code, folks, get
Tumpahan
those
apa
tickets
nggak
are
sih,
on
Mas
sale
Bat?
now on AXS.com for those. Hopefully we see you there. It's going to be a great time. With great games. It's about the pinnacle of Valorant.
That is a stacked tournament. Stacked. I mean, look at the game we're watching right now. We could get this as a nice little repeat there at some point.
Jeez, that would be wild. And again, remember,
We'll get MIBR against the best teams in the world from all the other regions, though. We haven't been able to see that happen yet. I'm so excited to see all of those potential matchups come to fruition.
Kayak
getting
like
us
match
back
gitu
to
kan?
the international feels like a breath of fresh air. Okay, so G2 on the attack side.
Nah, coba aja
No early
kau.
smoke here, A main, but the Viper walls, of course, will come up. Gate crash cleared as it's faked by Jaw.
Bear in mind, right now, MIBR, they are up 4-1 when it comes to pistol rounds in this series. Dominating at that aspect of the game. Getting those early
Udah pakai yang
advantages.
Windows apa? Itu Teabat.
Looks like he wants to
Nge-save
get
tinggal
touched here.
ALTZ gitu.
And maybe just stay. He is the insert player on ramp side. But this has kind of been read by Shannon. MIBR have been so good at these pistols, but Jonah B doubles back, catches the player that was hoping to be the thorn in the side of G2.
There are still 50 seconds to play with for this G2 team. They are spread across the map. You have a leaf inserted over
Oh, iya.
A ramp.
Ada yang
Osmos
lawannya
keeping
Daily
his
Valorant itu
eye on
yang
mid right now.
lumayan terkenal juga, warna hitam kalau nggak salah deh.
Quite literally be anywhere. They decided to move
India.
back to lead.
Kayak
Who's been
India bukan sih?
tested in this area of the map. There's going to be so
Vibes-nya
much
vibes
pressure
India.
on Artzid.
How's the trigger discipline looking? He's about to get a lot of options. Jorgamo's able to switch around, very quickly dispatching. And Leech got a good spot to play off of now. Pick the boxes left, go down to 30 and back away. He's done his job. This will confer heaven over to MIBR to make use of it. I think Verno wants to try and clear ramp. Unless there comes a late re-hit from Leaf.
Oh, does he clear this?
There's no
His
way.
boss. Oh,
There's
where?
no way he's clearing
Ih,
it. No, no, no.
asli sebelahan gitu.
Oh, with the right quick close range.
God, he just knows.
That should end the
Oh,
round.
di sini.
Enemy
Out.
remaining.
Nothing to work with now. Cortesi is
Aku kira suaranya
basically
nggak ada.
sat and spawn still. With no real options.
Dia emang
No definitive way into the
sering
round.
banget kayak gitu ya.
G2, crucial,
Timing.
absolutely crucial pistol round after a little bit of an anemic first half,
Absolutely timing.
making a one-round game with a flawless on the pistol.
Beautifully done. Very simple. I like that in the mid round they just have a lot of options to play with. It leaves MIBR seeking information, Shannon pushing down mid, caught, and then from there. Okay, well, no one's actually bothered to re-clear ramp. We have Leaf sitting there. Let's just go all the way back. Get a free A site execute going.
Tapi menurutku orang-orang MIBR tuh lumayan ini tahu kayak
Something that really is
apa
put G2 on
model-model
the map.
orang-orang Sentinel tuh masih yang suka bercanda di stage gitu.
Entirely open gathered up.
Enggak sih, kayak misalnya lagi take pause kan orang kayak
Playing to contain
latihan
the
atau
information
apa
on A
gitu.
side specifically.
Malah main itu apa
If
kayak
the MIBR defense
sirkus.
just pulls all their util fast A is
Ada
up
dua
to
orang.
then
Si
you
Aspas
can
mah
tell the rest of the team,
seperti
okay,
biasa
literally-
dengan chill guy.
legitimately every single player seems to go into the here.
Dua
That isn't the
orang
case,
malah
but
belajar
that's
sirkus.
One of the ideas with that kind of setup.
He trends back over towards mid. There was a gate crash set on the A side of the map for Jaw in case there was a good reason to trend in that direction.
Aku nggak, kalau pengamatan aku dong mah kayaknya di MIBR yang lumayan gitu selain si Aspas si ini ya Arjun.
And you have Leaf just taking point as the entry Viper because he's got
Aku yang lain nggak terlalu ngeliat sih.
Just down to go hunt for kills.
Yeah, I mean, he's deployed all of his util over on the A side of the map anyway, so...
Selain Arzin.
If anyone should go hunting, though, for real, it is Jaw. He's got the Stinger. He's the player on G2 that's closest to their ultimate. And I don't think I need to inform the viewing audience as to the importance of the dimensional drift and how much that
Ini double
ultimate
itu ya?
shaped the meta in 2025. So,
And look,
Inisiator.
this map is wild. Being able to get into
Smoke
a site.
2,
Sometimes,
Inisiator
like,
2,
you know, even see like Omen Ultimate expecting
Duelis
the
1,
effect.
gak pakai Sentinel, aku baru
Got a couple
ngeh.
times from Sen.
Kocak
Clear
banget.
just to play off the util.
yep, and here it is, Jaw. Go run at them.
Apa?
Well, it doesn't look like it's going to work out too well, but hey, he gets one.
Soalnya bisa sambil itu juga.
Sure, that is one way to
Iya
get
sih.
Norb. So G2, as expected, convert this round fairly comfortably. And MIBR
Bunuh diri
will
massal.
make sure they get cleared off the map. Buy up now and get serious as we
Biar
head into the
musuh nggak
attack
dapat
side
duit.
bonus.
Oh iya sih, kan kalau ngekill dapet ya.
Looking to see what G2 are going to opt to invest here. Pretty fair buy. They've got a
Kalau aku
couple.
ngelihat apa cara-cara kayak gitu, kan Sentinel pernah ya waktu pas Sentinel lagi bapuk-bapuknya gunain cara kayak gitu. Tetap kalah, kesel.
Looks like they may
Kayak nge-throw round gitu kan. Ya udah. Udah chill guy. Di atas sendirian kan ya? Kemarin tuh lawan siapa? Berarti oh iya ding. Berarti yang kalah kemarin Sentinel lawan MIBR kemarin kan ya? Kalau G2 menang lawan ini EG. Oh kemarin tuh EG. Jadi yang langsung bertanding si G2.
But because they have routed him from male, G2 are happy to just contact slow walk and take the space on the map, set up for.
Kan dulu pernah ya apa sih namanya Sentinel berseteru sama G2 kan ya. Sampai sekarang aku nggak suka G2, aneh parah.
Patiently scaling in, and this Trent.
Yeah, and then Trent decided the time for patience was done.
Oh, he's got a stinger. Put it to work. Why not?
Kayak aku nggak suka Barca, kayak apa gak ada alasan padahal Barca lagi jago-jagonya, tapi aku tetap gak suka walaupun dia jago.
There's no way he could be asked.
This is a
Pas kemarin apa G2 lawan EG aku kayak ke EG sih.
Someone can find a kill and then hey maybe we try to no we're just saving
Seriusan?
no other options.
Tapi aku kalau di EG tuh gak suka sama si pelatihnya doang, kayak mukanya tengil banget.
The second they realize that Shenum ran away, that they hear his footsteps going back towards stairs, they just get into that space to the extent that Trent realizes I'm
komik
the
perek.
entire distance just running with the Stinger right now. And in the meantime, they're coming out B main. The other two players divided in that split. It's so well done.
Yeah, they're playing off the stealth drone in the mail room very hard.
Oh my god.
A little bit of food
Ah,
action
iya,
there for your boy
Bustio.
Jaw. Valen comes
Jogemu
down,
mah
the venom is
sedikit
low.
kalem ya.
No one else really there to go for him, but that's Aspas' gun ripped away from him.
Oh,
Okay.
Iya.
That is a dank reference. Importantly, the rifles that MIBR were hoping to hold on to, they just could not carry out of the round. Beautiful play off the fault line. G2 do eventually explode into heaven. It's just the tempo is very different to what we saw from the Jet comp on the MIBR side, but it's just as effective.
For an A hit, it seems. Gonna go ahead and get Jonah on
Kalau
the
ngocol
line
mah
to stun
tahu diri lah ya.
YBR on the full eco round. At this point, damage doesn't even feel particularly
Sadar
relevant.
diri.
Look at the G2 cash.
Little TP on out there, sheepish from Valo.
Iya iya. Tapi sekarang kan udah gondrong. Dulu pas botak lebih ngeselin lagi sih.
Oh, that's an ugly one still. It's fairly lowly armed and arm in MIBR squad.
Itu pertanyaan aku kenapa EG langsung bubar ya?
He's the only one in the site fighting. Everyone else was caught off by that snake bite. They were just relegated to standing in main, watching their teammate lose a 1v1.
Okay, but hear me out. Jaw has been able to get into screens at least off that dimensional drift. There are a plethora of defenders set up that are trying to fight for this, and oh, it's going horribly wrong.
I listened and I shouldn't have.
Junapi yang malang.
To pieces.
Don't let reality get in the way of a good narrative. Why? Just don't worry about it. Forget about it.
Not only do they win the eco, they recover 5 rifles from it. They call that a swing round.
Yeah, I would call that the biggest stimulus package we've ever seen. Flawless Thrifty, and all the rifles recovered.
What happened here at the beginning? I mean, yeah, Valen is just forced to TP. He goes right into the salvo. Leaf is running in because Jaw is in there in the dimensional drift, which was used to lose an eco round. But then the rest of the team can't even swing in to help Leaf. They're all cut off by a molly.
Let's go!
Instead, as G2 take a fight, where they're pretty unfavored against like a Stinger posted up on that corner.
Ini kalau misalkan full dapat 5 map berarti berapa lama selesai ya?
Big risk to take and it
Aku
blows up
pas
in their face in the
kemarin
worst
apa
way
ya?
possible.
Fortunately for them, their economy was out of control. If it had been in a tighter situation, MIBR would be in crazy control of this game all of a sudden. But it just resulted in a situation where both teams have multiple full buys ahead of them. Valen is just the first
kemarin
step
tuh G2
again.
lawan Sentinel.
We're a minute 30 into the round.
MIBR
He's got to
lawan
execute with no smokes.
I mean, that's Jaw. He'll always
Lawan
take that
siapa
fight.
sih?
He just runs in you. Cortezia.
G2 lawan EG, MIBR lawan Sentinel.
And that B presence now essentially nullified.
Kemarin Sentinel lawan MIBR, terus G2 lawan EG. Nah, itu selesainya jam berapa ya? Hampir jam 10 apa ya?
We can't close any of these views off. We have no smokes. That was a window for them
Itu
to
mata
get in.
kagak pegel apa ya?
Second opportunity was Leaf. He's worked his way
Emang iya.
into the MIBR backline.
Yang jelas apa sih kayak yang di stage tuh ya model komentator atau itu ya MC gitu banyak banget deh. Yang Amerika terutama ya. Kan kalau Pasifik mah cuma satu. Yang cewek doang. Yang kayak MC-nya gitu.
30 seconds left.
30 in the round. Eventually they're going to happen on the right guess.
Yang di dalam
GT
stage-nya.
don't quite know the status of the A side itself. If there's an anchoring presence or not.
Satu doang.
About to find out.
Cewek. Iya, yang Korea. Kalau Amerika mah banyak banget, apalagi dia tuh kayak apa sih lebih hidup tuh ya. Misalnya lagi ngapain kan langsung ke penonton yang bukan cuman sekedar kanan atau kiri teh atau enggak. Tapi kayak apa ada wawancara juga gitu sama penontonnya. Kan berarti aktif banget ya. Maksudnya cenderung seru sih kalau menurut aku yang Amerika tuh. Iya. Kadif acara.
Jonah P, the professor, sticking Cerebro on his noggin, is able to see through the wall and no Artazine is waiting.
Kalah.
Now it's a 1v2. Time is short, but he's short not hitting it all. He fluffs it entirely.
Time is short.
And all of a sudden, MIBR back in the lead.
Economy is looking strong for them. They got ults out of G2 on the last 2 rounds. Things are starting to look oh so good for them on their map pick. Valen frustrated that back-to-back rounds, he was this early first death for his team.
Great shots on Jonah there. He is unfortunately not able to connect the one shot he needs. He kills the diffuser. That's it.
Muka-muka orang apa sih Latin tuh kayak yang cowoknya sedikit mirip kayak Arab guys. Muka-muka orang Latin yang cowoknya mirip kayak orang Arab sih. Kalau yang ada jenggotnya ya, jenggot tipis gitu sampai leher.
This has been a bit rockier for him. The pressure's definitely been felt. And the start of the series wasn't the beginning he was looking for, but now starting to purr along.
Right, G2 have gained some mid control. They were letting Leaf.
That wall comes
to just contain over towards A. They're making all of this sound pressure towards B heaven. Well, the intention is to work into this A split.
Cross map smoke, they're over towards heaven side.
They threw a smoke, a paranoia, a clone up there to try and sell it. MIBR, both players, they're being forced into the back site. They have to double up.
Smoke here might be tricky though for the defenders to come back and fight to heaven through. Shenum experiencing that right now. Oh, he's too low. Vulnerable from the
Sudah vulnerable,
terkena skill.
Itu tuh posisi paling kocak banget, aku kesel sama orang yang di situ. Yang jauh game sekarang asli.
The only hope for MIBR here is if one of those G2 players offers themselves up to a fight, but it's just not going to happen. You rarely ever see that from G2. They're just too disciplined.
Crisp. Far too crisp. Verno's been issued the challenge. He'll take it. Win it out. But really at this point you're trying to salvage some currency out of the round. Aspar says, I'm keeping this shiny boomstick. I'm I'm gonna go this way.
Just a nice mid-round pivot from G2. The plan of getting up mid, taking all of that control, and then they send the clone, smoke towards B, paranoia into B heaven, make all of that noise. Leaf is controlling A main, work into the A split. It's a nice round top to bottom from G2 to tie things up 9-9.
Yeah, really just clean walk up. They kind of knew they'd forced those two defenders to anchor into the site. And they made it hard to retake heaven. Pretty standard smoke there. Just kept MIBR out of it. All right. Now we're starting to get into the back and forth part of this half, apparently. 18 rounds in. We are tied. And Aspas kept that operator from the previous round.
Simon looks like he wants to post up towards the middle of the map. G2 opt for some early B main control.
Off in mid. Might see some movement now as Aspas, I think, is positioned ahead of that mailroom smoke and posts back up on it. Inside of it. And
Modar itu mah jelas. Ih, masih hidup.
Flash though. Saw the gate crash into ropes, and this forces Aspas to back up now as well. He's in a really uncomfortable spot with his op.
Just trying to jiggle the corner. He just doesn't have an angle. Rolling Thunder coming into the site. Connects onto Cortezia, who's forced to teleport away to safety.
He teleported into it just to get back in towards CT, but he's safe for now, at least. Jaw will be the doorman.
He's trying to
the
get
bouncer.
into this smoke.
Bam, kaget. Oh, belum. Ih, perasaan tadi udah mau habis. Oh, di smoke lagi.
Aspas no longer with him. He circled back around through mid to heaven. Cortezia patience almost paid off. It ends up being a trade.
Kayak agak ada ini ya.
All grouped in heaven. Trend has the timing. He has an opportunity now to tear it all down.
Itu kalau aku nge-smoke posisinya berubah. Kan dia posisinya kayak sama aja ya. Presisi.
Time not on Aspas' side, but there's a moment, an opportunity to open this up.
Oh, he just thinks that he's wrapping around, but Jonah has been patient at pillar the entire
Mati,
time.
door.
Unmoving, stoic, and now he's heard it all. Jonah knows exactly how to play for time right here. Here's another.
Bisa gitu, Bab.
Because he's going up against a raid boss, but he's playing the time to perfection.
Nih lihat nih.
Jonah knows exactly how to play for time.
Itu orang
right
di situ.
Here's another.
Gak jelas.
Kayak
Bang Aspas.
But he's playing the time to perfection.
The half with down, no scopes, Trent, close range.
Asli gacor parah.
Casual. Very, very casual. Nicely done from Valo. That is very tight.
That was sick. Jeez.
Yeah, I know. That's what I would have said if I wasn't being paid to not say that.
What did he say?
Ah, just, you know, what the heck?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
MIBR taking the time out.
Kau tahu gak apa sih VCT paling garing stage-nya? Maksudnya apa sih yang kondisi di stage sama penontonnya paling garing VCT apa?
The dimensional drift one all away.
Penontonnya kayak apa ya? Aku 5-5 penonton dahsyat tau gak sih? Iya yang kemarin kalau nonton VCT China kayak gitu. Aku master gak lihat.
From MIBR on the eco where they recover the rifles has given them the infinite money glitch. They are still able to buy. These have not been, they've been round losses. There was a win that was not particularly clean, and they are still, they couldn't go on this defense. Making it as tough as possible for G2 to try and close out.
Jadi kalau menurut aku soalnya Riot ini banget apa ya? China tuh pasarnya lumayan tapi kok gini? Sangat nasionalis parah.
Gives you such a distinct edge. Information is currency here. On the split, for sure.
Fault line was being set up there from Arzin, but it's Jonah who lets his rattle off so that control can be taken. Valen eats a lot of damage. I'm going to assume that was just some initial spam, maybe coming through the corner of the wall that clipped onto him from Cortezia, who's now backed off into default site.
Again, much slower here from G2 than you would expect from the jet comp we saw out of MIBR. No explosion, no burst onto B. Enough to drag a third player onto the site proper. So little do they know, it definitely opens up this like mid to heaven push now, makes that way more viable.
Now later in the round, the fault line is being used by RC, so MIBR can regain control of main.
Valo might take Spike and potentially TP over if A gets opened up. No, we're just going to go the old-fashioned way.
You still just have Aspas, who's been posted up over on A ramp the entirety of this round. Now actually trying to push forward. There's that teleport that you mentioned. It's going back B. The dimensional drift is going to spot out Aspas, who now needs to get the hell out of dodge.
He's got the mobility to avoid any switch reprisals. Chogamo just drives by.
Cortezio's also ultimate is to TP backside on A side.
G2 are committed, though. This is not a fake. They've got to end here at this rate. Let's draw Aspas down.
What?
Cortezio with 2.
How did he get 2?
Stunning little brace, but there's more to be done. Jaw click
Meninggal.
on the side and an elbow. Verno is extracted. And that's it, really. It's just Arzine.
Yeah, Trent and Valen down to no HP, able to survive. The G2 IGL has hit some stunning shots in these last couple rounds.
Sneakily topping the scoreboard. And that's an easy one, a big 4K for Valen. And G2 finally open up a bit of breathing room. The money for MIBR is looking a little dodgy.
They finally got, I mean, I say that, they're still probably going to force into this. Valen gets that initial kill. How on earth did Cortezio find 2? I do not know. That kill onto Shenum.
Lovely off angle. 18 and 13 for Valen. Top in the server. Another game here where MIBR have Aspas. He's in it. He's definitely performing. But there's a lot on his hands right now.
Interestingly enough, in the playoffs, it's the least impact Aspas has had is when he's got the AWP. When he has the
Asli,
He
keras
seems to
parah.
win every time.
Speak of the devil. And he shall appear.
Buat kau masih ingat garis bomnya ada 2? Kau udah main belum sih?
Start to keep MIBR with like a really, like I said, teetering econ. Half armor for a lot of them. Up we walk.
Udah fix mati itu.
I got more friends than you. I'm gonna play it safe.
Sekarang kan nge-slow mah kalau kena tembak peluru doang ya. Kalau kena peluru nge-slow kan ya.
Just like he drew it up, it's a Viper's pit deployed to make the retake that much more
Sama
awkward.
skill yang bikin slow.
That cover screens, gets in the elbow. It's everywhere.
That initiator duo so unaware that they had missed a timing that Leaf caught. And now Trent positioned in main alone, playing passively.
Ih, gak ngecek, gak ngecek. Gak dicek, Pak. Di bawah lagi.
And here comes Trent into the backside. Aspas might have saved them. It's just Trent. The Viper's pit is now down. Viper dealt with. Trent, so cerebral, so consistent. Reliable player here for G2 is playing it safe. As only
Aduh,
he knows how.
minimal mid lah.
Salvo comes in. Cortezia falls, and this complicates it for Aspas now. It does get to half, but it's going to take
Dituin
more
dulu
than that.
padahal ya.
And Trent, gotta find the timing.
Ai, dapet.
Give for Cortezia, he leaves
Kocak banget.
in his wake. Aspas uses it to convert.
It lasted just long enough for him to
Tapi
be
itu
able to
apa
fully defuse
ini banget
that
apa
second
kayak
half as
si
well.
siapa tadi si Omen tuh.
Aspas opens the round with this phenomenal
Kayak sudah
2K.
paham. Lebih baik di smoke.
That swing from Valen was just torched by an insta one tap.
Bentar, kayaknya aku tadi ngeliat pemain MIBR in gamenya pada bahasa Jepang ya.
Infinite
Apa
possibilities
sih Aspas
lurking out
doang
from
sih?
that moment. And Aspas is not grazed by the bullet.
Wibu parah.
One
Sih.
round game. Both teams now kind of on the edge.
Hah?
This is G2 with a pseudo force. All things considered, pretty good buy.
Iya. Cuma kalau ada apa-apa liar.
The judge
Ngapalin voice com
an
orang-orang.
iconic trio. Oh my god, Jaws just plucked Verno out of vents. Just open up this side of the map.
Just when most players would start playing safe, he just goes up a level.
Arzin, you're in trouble, buddy. He's trying to figure out where to go with the judge. Look at the
Udah,
angle
fix
he's
mati.
holding.
Very exposed.
He's cooked.
Like a pimple on the tip of your nose. Arzine, oh, impotently tries to shoot in the direction of rafters. It's a mismatch and he knows it. And now a full strength G2. And a pivotal round in the game.
And it's wraps for this one. MIBR are going to have to sadly retreat and play this for OT.
Kicking and screaming. G2 have dragged themselves through this game and now put themselves on match point. 2-round lead. MIBR with a weird force coming, I'm sure of it. Nothing huge outside of the Armageddon potentially to work with in the next round. Shenum here just needs to
Aku tuh
hope, pray he's
belajar
allowed to keep the
ini
rifle.
bisa
G2
di hide tau.
don't want to take any risks of their own here. Leak didn't think he was anyway, but Aspas will wrest that gun from his grip.
Itu bisa di
Jonah's in position though to recover it at least.
Could have been awkward for Aspas, but he's going to get away with his life. MIBR won't have the worst buy for this final round, and as you mentioned, Verno just one away from getting the Armageddon, Shenum one away from getting the Viper's pick. If they get access to those ultimates,
aman.
that can certainly get them this round win, continue the game, despite the fact that they're not going to have the ideal buy here.
This round certainly now represents a tipping point in this series. MIBR have not won Ascent this stage. G2, of course, it took Sentinels to unravel them on that map. To take Split away would put them at a massive advantage. And now map 5 Fracture has been the permaban for MIBR, so God knows what happens there.
Slow from G2 to open this round up. Waiting to see if any aggression is going to come from MIBR. It's not going to be the case. Majority of the MIBR players are just postured towards A, keeping their eyes on main, ready to play off of anything that might come Aspas' way, but nothing will. It's G2 slowly clearing out every corner of mid. We saw Leak find success on this exact same off angle that Shenum is trying to play now.
What will it take to get the Viper to give it up? We may never know, as G2 have eyes for elsewhere on the map. Look at Aspas, he's pushed very deep through that A side of the map. That's a potential issue. Or is this just a fake sell? Okay, the irony of this could be pretty delicious. There it is, Jorgenbo says, do not dare impersonate me. Verno trades it though. The Guardian rings
Oh
true.
my god, that Armageddon
Oh,
is
diusir.
connecting onto everyone. Well, it's forced them into the
Atau itu
corners.
enak banget
That could have
berdua.
been extremely dangerous.
It does throw things a little haywire for G2. But they're better armed.
MIBR, they don't know where to rotate.
Itu kelihatan kakinya tadi.
Through spawn and
No
Shenum on
current.
site has been dealt with.
No current mid-info to work with. Now they're going to try and test this from heaven.
Perasaan tadi dia
And Aspas
nge-flank
has
deh,
been
gak jadi.
everywhere this round, but where the action is, star player conspicuously absent. And now he's going to try and drag them back from the brink. Split hangs in the balance. Verno's going to be forced off by the fault line. And Aspas goes looking. Dive into the cloudburst, expecting someone in Mal, but Leaf is too canny to get
Ya
this one up
ampun,
easily.
tidak
Not for
tercek,
free,
men.
or not at all, he says. Now we're in for a power, but Aspas is out of the
Sudahlah.
game. And G2, a pivotal map win in the mid-series. A hard-fought Split finally breaks their way.
They steal away MIBR's pick, and now back-to-back have dealt.
Masuk ke map 4. ininya di close. Wih, gak nge-lag. Kau buka itu gak, Bet? VCT? Enggak. Enggak. Kalau udah mulai bilang. Kira bakal nge-lag banget, ternyata pas aku close Chrome-nya nggak nge-lag. Ya ampun. Aduh. Bet, kau masih nonton Milihia gak, Bet? Coy, masih kadang suka ngeliat Milihia gitu gak?
Aku mah dari dulu memang gak nonton Milihia.
Oh.
Paling klip-klipnya doang. Menurun, guys.
Di mana? Pulang. Malah mutar.
Asen sekarang.
Apa?
Asen.
Udah mulai. Masih ceramah. Kau nonton apa nih tuh? Wow, 75 wow. Berapa ini? 94 948 945. Tuh 2345. Tuh 2345. 74 75. Berkurang. Is okay, Mei. Ih, apa sih? Kok hari ini kalau ada keluar bat? Oh. Sangat ngevlog. Kalau udah di bawah 90%, saatnya nge-aim pelan-pelan. Tuh 2 3 4 5. Aduh, gak dapat. Ada satu-satu. Tuh. Astagfirullah. Tuh 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18.
Kau main yang strike gak sih?
Strafe.
Main apa aja?
Ini grid shot yang
Kecil-kecil.
kecil-kecil. Terus yang yang strafe itu yang harus di arahin doang kan.
Iya.
Udah itu doang. Kadang kalau lagi bosan itu nyobain yang misi-misi gitu. Yang apa sih kayak targetnya terbang meledak apalah.
Udah mulai ya?
Oke. Beres ini. Minimal 100% dulu. Gak dapet.
Namanya kalkulasi 100%.
Heeh. Aduh, 98 doang. Langsung chrome guys.
Pakai walai.
Aspas walai.
Gini. Aspas gitu.
1 2 3
From that 0 point, but Jonas still just has that full kit array. Initial pop
Oke
flash
guys,
thrown
kita
in ahead,
lanjut
but
nonton
causing a
lagi
bit of
guys.
further delay.
Walaupun tidak ada yang
Battle Ready sent
nonton,
out the
tidak
paranoia.
peduli.
Even more
Yang penting
delay.
ngomong.
Device utilidor
already delaying on top of that. Artisan can't move through that.
Cih, udah 100
Arc Rose triggered yet again. Artisan, whoa, has to peek out. Needs to try and extract something out of the round. And Aspas is set up on Heaven. Burner's gotten deep over towards Jin now. Jaw has a lot to look at. Goes down but gets some good damage. Time is a big problem, and of course, and the
Apa sih namanya?
Trent delivers a death blow.
Si itu tuh namanya siapa?
Burner's
ya?
nowhere to be.
And he's not going to give them another orb by swinging out.
Teho.
Even on a
Si
pistol.
Teho tuh kalau udah di akhir-akhir tuh kayak ngeselin banget tuh.
Dense amount of util that G2 are able
Kayak real
to
penggunaan
throw around
otak
the
sangat
map to keep
dipakai
retainers
menggunakan
fighting.
Teho.
It's too overwhelming.
Jeez, I mean, Shannon just walks that.
Yeah, that was a curious moment. He really took a wide swing on that. That was not a jiggle peek.
Alright, we're feeling chipper. Spirit time in the G2 camp. No hand to forehead this time for your boy Josh
That was
either.
the happiest I think we've seen Josh when we.
Yeah, he looks, by
honestly.
comparison, he looks elated. At this point, we'll take it.
Boss on the catwalk with Sheriff. Dash available, wants to take advantage of it.
They're
That was
waiting
a
for it.
dink through the wall.
G2 are waiting for that. Now, mid control. Should be elementary. Shannon also step up, get knocked back down. He is low. And here comes Jaw to finish what he started. Easy, easy cleanups. It might be
no
our
intentions of going back. They're just going to run through tree.
Okay, some free damage for Trent there as he sprays it on down. Verno feels the pinch. Two Bulldogs, Sheriff, Ghost to go to work with.
Spike.
G2 have it locked down pretty early.
A lot of pressure on MIBR to perform in this lower final. This is where they got knocked out of the kickoff tournament. Against Sentinels, they lose the BO5 3-1. They do not want to exit this tournament in the exact same fashion. They know they've gotten better since then. We've seen that they've improved so much since then, but the competition has remained so stiff. I mean, G2, they've really not skipped a beat, I feel, while Sentinels have ascended to a totally different level in this last week or two.
And MIBR definitely felt the onus on them to step up to that challenge. They don't want to exit this stage with another third place finish. You heard Cortesia say, we're not just thinking about Masters, we want to dominate this region and then the world.
Oh, yoy, yoy. This team is the hope of Brazil.
The best they've looked in a long time.
Now we
Getting
wait.
onto their first bye round against the G2 bonus.
Leaf.
Outlaw.
Okay.
Hands of Leaf. Classic Leaf voice on attack activity.
And a lot of opportunities to put it to best use. Big pings down mid. There is a Vice Wall there. Interesting spot for it.
Just jump peeks onto that angle. Goes Osmond. Dare swing! Oh
Dapat
my
dua, kok bisa?
That's about as good as it gets. Then Aspas, again, just doesn't look back at explosions, apparently. Off to a different part of the map, this time resurfacing in mid. That was carnage.
I am stunned at that. We'll need a replay on that in 0.25x speed, please. It's
Ih,
on the angle with
Aspas
the
meleset
dash.
tumben.
Could have gotten more, but Verno just picks it up from
Spike
Switch.
down mid.
That's an important round. A clean gun round for MIBR. As Aspas kills two birds with one stone early.
I saw their undoing before my eyes. I was having a vision of the future where Ospas is swinging out into 5 players, dies, and then they get bonus rounded and they get flattened on this map.
They were
But
lined up.
Instead, that
Tuh
happened.
dapat
And
dua loh,
we
buat satu
think
peluru apa ya nih?
shot off
Liatin.
future where Ospas is swinging out into 5 players, dies, and then they get
Satu
bonus
peluru.
rounded and they get flattened on this map.
They were
But
lined up.
Instead, that
dapat
happened.
dua,
And we-
aneh.
I think got the shot off with the out. What?
Had to give him credit for that one. You've never had Mercury in Gatorade? Good for you. Pop-off king.
G2 are trying to get into B main, but they're being slowed down by missiles from Verno. That's a great flash over the top. It's going to force him back to switch. He's isolated.
Kawan?
Verno waiting for the next wave. It comes in soon enough. Then they've got to play around this Vice Wall. They may have been triggered just now.
Flash bagus.
It's going to be an element you have to deal with. Razorvine also starting to clear. And now they check.
Over the top. It's going to force him back to switch. He's isolated.
pop-off king.
G2 are trying to get into B main, but they're being slowed down by.
Oh iya,
That's a great
asli.
flash over the top.
Susah itu gak ditebak banget ya.
She's isolated.
Verno waiting for the...
Both drone. Damn near in the defender's spawn.
Emang kalau di throw bukannya harus mantul dulu ya?
Multitude of options.
Kalau gak dipantul kan jadi lebih lama nggak sih?
Contesio is playing accordingly.
Sengaja kok. Pokoknya setiap kayaknya setelah 2 detik dilempar.
The shield wall is still there somehow. In we go. Light speed for Jaw. And up on that short, you're going to be looking for Contesio. Arcro's out there. Suppression on Contesio. This allows Jaw and Co to get in. Now MIPR's 2 anchors have to go ham. Not a bad start. And here's Valen digging them out of position.
Just overwhelmed by the numbers of G2.
Spike planted.
We're able to scale together effectively down lane and stairs at the same time, putting those players mid-sight in a vice.
No early round joy for Aspas this time around. And I'm thinking he's running short on options. Shannon barely even considered drifting over to assist. So MIBR without a too much care economically, able to build up a lot after a pretty ridiculous flawless. Can sit back on this, bide their time. But bear in mind, this is G2 that are getting some really important early attack side rounds with this waylay-led strategy. Not a position you want the attackers to get into.
Aspas would have been happy to take some fights there, honestly, to try and deal some additional damage. Despite being down 3-1, their economy is in much better standing than G2's.
Like I said, yeah, they're trying to dig in for the long game, but 3 rounds handed over to the attackers.
There's often the duty of the entry, just jumping in and dying so the rest of your players can scale on either side and find the kills on the defenders.
We saw that on Lotus, right? Especially with the Neon. Jen obviously have a
Ya aku baru ngeh ternyata G2 sama MIBR satu grup dan rank 1 sama rank 2 grupnya. G2 ke 1, MIBR ke 2.
Much more than just the one way to play with there. G2 really spent util making sure no one could capitalize.
G2 tuh udah pernah menang itu belum sih? Kompetisi G2.
Sheer wall drawn out.
Master belum pernah kan ya?
Convergent pass coming into play. And here comes Jaw. Moving fast as heck, but Verno's able to stop in his track. Shenham though stunned up in that corner.
Verno.
Exactly what you needed, but guess who comes knocking?
Serut.
The Grim Reaper.
Ih.
Cut down and Leaf finds yet another one. Round is still live for G2, but Leaf somehow has to go absolutely bonkers.
Oh my god. Had a chance with Shadow.
Okay, Leaf. On 3.
Ya padahal lagi apa ya?
Trying to show up the youngster Verno.
Tapi jadi 1 lawan 2 dengan darah
Time
masih sama.
started to become a concern. 33 seconds to play with. And these MIBR players are hoping to play together, but Leaf might have a timing to slip past. Radazing checks this for info. Little shoulder out now from behind. Leaf knows he's going to get pushed. Not to be. And the pure stopping power of Verno on A allows MIBR to scrape another one.
I want to see what happened in main there after those convergent paths were used. Jaw was able to get in, but no one else could. I suppose there was that special delivery there. Precision with the Vandal, lethal from Verno.
I mean, this is kind of the issue with Waylay. It was discussed on the desk, right? She can't always fight for herself straight away after getting in. Needs pretty tight spacing from the rest of the team.
And also, there's no cloud burst for that Waylay to
Exactly. It's way harder.
He is out in the open right there. All right, Aspas is pushing up really far and suppressed. Oh my god, this is so dangerous. If he gets one and gets away.
They have to know. There's 0 point tagging a jet on catwalk. G2 definitely going to play carefully around that. Steel Garden used over at B. There's another getting coming in, and there's Aspas. An unlikely scenario to extract the kill, but that's what he does! And somehow Jonah's not ready. Who could be? Valen with a stinger. Gets his. And finds another one. He actually upgraded to the rifle all of a sudden. G2, they thrust down the middle of MIBR's setup, and now Aspas. This position's no longer relevant. It's no longer terrifying. Shenham has to fight for himself, and Jaw goes by the wayside.
This has turned into a mental situation. Leaf has worked his way into market. Shenum, far more HP, but if he doesn't clear the corner, it's going to be a free kill for
Wih.
Headshot dispatches him. 2 versus 1.
Kayak enak banget gitu ya.
Both players from MIB are running down lane.
Cerebral cortex swollen like a beach ball. Valon's got to figure this out.
Tipis banget loh buat seriusan.
In fact. Now the defenders start to build up a bank. Start to string these rounds together.
Impressive work from Shenum. Ospas with the operator there, not to be denied. That initial shot onto Trent was fantastic. And then Jonah just focused on pressure that was coming from the spawn. Surely he won't be jumping down and flanking me with the op. But he does just that.
Like you note, they spot him out really early with that 0 point. But I guess they just assumed that he's holding a passive line and they've already started.
Yeah, they just assumed, that he's like back in tree basically. That he didn't. He actually pushed in front of the thorns on the ground, but they assumed he would just be behind them. It's certainly more likely he would have been. But
Shimmy makes an ass pass out of you and me, apparently. Come on, bro. I get 1.
I chuckled.
Draw here pretty deep towards that CT side. Now that Util getting concentrated towards the boathouse. Shaw steps up, knocked down straight away. It's the stinger buy for G2. Quintessential. At this point, MIBR are conditioned to it.
No real opportunity. Get a shot off with the op. Cloudburst to safety, wants to get back on the angle. Cortesi on the swing, but it doesn't matter.
Troll.
5 health, yeah, not much to work with. Valen, a little stranded without an upgraded weapon either. What is the plan? Spike recovered, 55 on the clock. And he's headed in a direction with no weapons to recover. Do tell, Valen, what's the game plan?
Bisa wae dia diem di sini.
We're circling back through mid.
Lihat omennya kayak wah dia orang pasti bakal
Go through cat.
iya gak bakal dicek. Tapi kedengeran gak sih stepnya? Enggak ya?
Ping there over towards grass.
Could try to get himself to a closer position.
Shenum is flush with util here, Wyatt.
Where does he want to go? Play hell.
Kalau maju sendiri kalah.
Onto him in close range, but also you're a lot of scenarios here going to be going up against a Tejo that's going to opt to use the
Ada
missiles
pakai
in
stinger
hell.
di jarak dekat. Kayak auto win ini.
Doesn't even have the ability to TP out of it. Paranoia for Jen. That's cleared. I use air quotes.
Or no, evidently.
Yep. Valen waiting. Biding his time. Stinger. Oh,
Aduh kan benar kata aku juga apa.
Valen! Brain look like Mojo Jojo out there. Punches his ticket to another winning round. A winning round that should not have been.
What a disastrous retake in that 2 versus 1. Positioning completely scrambled. I mean, he gets there in the first place because Lee goes crazy with the classic over on the B side.
What is that?
I knew it! You like that play, Cortez?
No, I didn't think so. To put in context, that was off the back of what Leaf did early in the round. The classic. Doesn't make any sense.
Feels like absolutely none of that should have happened. Not one bit. MIBR still have enough money to buy up here, but their economy is fully on the line. Ospas with that operator. Gazing down mid.
Little flash here for a bit of info. Jordan, yep, working out of there.
Ih, ini banget mancing parah. Mancing.
Can't even trade because he's obscured by the smoke.
Well, where's the stall util?
Mancing banget.
Down so early in the piece. Now, yeah, A is open. Come right on in, they say. Cortesi's able to find Trent towards the middle part of the map so that, you know, post-plant util drastically limited.
Leaf is ready for this. If Cortesia can win this fight, there's a chance
Mati.
of this retake. It's really the only opportunity.
Good steps. Still guarded. Leaf says,
to the sideline.
Aspas gets there. That is wild. Just a pixel of it, might suggest. Valen again in hell. Surely not twice.
Round 2.
Not again.
Tuh megang OP.
Jonah moves out.
Aspas ya.
Razorvine deployed. He's on the edge of it. Here comes Verno now, hunting. Blood in the water. He can taste it. And there it is. Valen dealt with. Jonah P on the side, riddled with holes.
Sangat.
This time Verno's able to clean up. Man, this Ascent game is back and forth stuff.
Cortesia came up huge, finding that initial kill on Trent. But then from there, So heads up for him to just take that jiggle peek onto Leaf. This was a cool way for G2 to get in. Shenum just forced to look to the left. And then Aspas in this moment, because of the steel guarded, Leaf had to force the issue and run a Cortezia, so he exposes himself to the sightline. That was a really
I actually
cool
think
play.
Leaf was trying to counter Steel Guard.
Kau bukan HP orang tua juga, HP aku.
From the animation, he didn't
Aku
pull a
juga
weapon.
ngerasa aku buka apa-apa terang.
Tahu kan nyerang buka HP? Aku mah breakfast.
Either way,
Iya, aku
Aspas
biasanya
was waiting for him, he was cornered. Double flash combo from G2 to get into B main, a paranoia.
Yup.
And from the KO, Aspas just a bit short on that shot. Jaw to get away.
defenders still in strong positions though. Jaw and a stinger. Stingers for everybody. Steel guarded now for Leaf. Held onto it the previous round.
Tinggal.
Arsenal trying to back away. Caught up. Snelled in the liquid metal
dua
roots.
dibayar 2.
And Jaw gets 2. Pushing out towards CT, but wrong weapon.
Kesalahan.
Haphazard to say the least, throws his life away.
Oh iya
Two
sih.
players with stingers
Lebih
remaining
rugi
for
yang
G2.
ini
Leaf
ya.
is trying to close the distance, get on an angle.
Spike
He can
planted.
play nice and close. Both G2 players are just completely separated from each other right now. It looks like they want to try and get into a position where they can swing off of each other.
Aspas into
Oh,
main.
panik.
Believe it's not a good spot. Look at him adjusting. He knows someone could backstab. He had the info.
Remaining.
Just too many angles to account for.
Ya udah main
Become
dalam.
a judge now.
Pasti
Getting ahead
meninggal.
of that util
Dor meninggal 2 kan. Sudah aku bilang.
Low health. Valen has got himself an upgrade. Looking for the clutch. It gets to half. Valen biding his time, not respecting the fact that Aspas.
Ah!
It doesn't matter.
Cak.
Absurd. Valen runs it back again. All faith put in him by G2 and he delivers.
The 1v2, if that wasn't enough for you, how about a little 1v3 as well?
Langsung
Just
mati
within a
2.
round span, picks up the judge that was dropped, gets in the dark cover. That is so cheeky.
He times it out perfectly.
Happiness,
It's a great-
joy, finally on the face.
It's a great
of
angle to
Josh.
display bicep gains as well. I mean, Josh knows what he's doing. I see you,
Time
bro.
waktunya.
You ain't falling there, brother. Didn't like heat, pull them sleeves up a little bit. Pause here because, yeah, sleeves up all across MIVR. Frog now, in their ears. It's important to take stock at this point and note that G2 has just scored their 5th attack side round. Right, like I said, that is such a huge boon. And MIVR now have a round where they have an L command to work with. It could be pretty important to stunt those fast hits that G2 might look to play off. Again, the pace is definitely more up-tempo than the Yoru compound split.
It certainly has been. The Waylay, a big factor in that. We are going to have a bad bye when we come into this, so that was a round should be on paper worth 2 for G2. They should be able to get 6, which you are 100% of the time going to be more than happy with getting on your Ascent attack side. When we get to the next bye round, MIBR, they are ready to go with the initiator ults. Aspas has had some sick rounds with the Bladestorm in this series so far. Might just rip that right out, see if they can turn the tides on this eco round with a couple kills. And he will.
Up to the races. Straight past the one-way, disrespected as G2 know. Got a real gun advantage here. Artisan suppressed 4. Caught by that 0 point, they're still going for it. Armageddon could be a bit of a wrinkle in the plan though. They'll move out of the way. Not quite in time, there was third throw with the util and the Bladestorm.
Remaining.
I mean, what is this disrespect to MABR? They've done nothing to deserve it. And this one blows up in G2's face.
I love the confidence from MIBR to just let all of these ults loose. They know Jonah's caught left. They know he's low HP. It's just a matter of cleaning this up. It feels like it's a matter of time until something connects onto him. And Cortezia on the flank makes light work.
Oh, there goes
Remaining
Gravity.
G2 player.
The weight of reality hits G2. They're in a best of 5. They're only 1 round ahead. It's a long series. And it's still in the balance.
Verno gets a 15 and 5. I mean, I suppose it helps when you get 2 kills with your abilities on that round. Armageddon used.
Nice!
And the missiles were put in the corners that it would have forced players into.
Yeah, a timeout here for sure.
Now Josh,
It was like, boys, what was that?
his happiness, his smiles, a distant memory. It's time to pause after getting eco.
Again, like, let's dial it back a little bit.
Ih, time out lagi.
They're obviously on a gun round. MIBR sheriffs. They walk past the one-way, disrespect it. Okay, fair enough. They want pace. They walk straight into the Teo trap. Verno is always playing that off angle on the A side. He's there somewhere. Armageddon is going to force your hand, force you into that util. 2 players go down to Teo util. We know he's powerful, but come on.
I just love the guts to go for that on this eco round and not saving it for the buy in some standard situation when you're on a retake. They went for it and they come up huge because they took that risk. So I'm trying to remember when he got the other kills, to be honest. I mean, he's been looking good, but damn, when did he get 15 and 5? That's
I mean, he did drop that 4K on the round that, Leaf got the knife kill. That helps. 2 there. He's been in the mix this whole game. Right, so G2 chastised duly, I'm sure.
And going for the force. Josh has advised them to go for the force on this round. Look at their buy, it's shocking. Leaf has a sheriff. Trent just has the stinger. Jonah has a bulldog.
Look at this trap though over towards the B side.
Are they going to go for some kind of convergent pass Armageddon play? Maybe no, it's just an Armageddon straight up on A. Leaf finds the opening towards B.
Verno, why is he challenging this?
Aduh, ngapain coba asal
Good money
gitu.
being thrown after bad by both sides. The Benjamins lit on fire. Scattered to the winds.
Arjun is trying to make some sense of this round, if not for MIBR, at least do it for me. What the hell am I seeing, man? Osmos, aware that Trent is in spawn, it seems, should be able to collect that kill. Does. Artson caught by the convergent pass. Straw gonna try to capitalize on this push forward.
The Hinder's pretty brutal.
No, they just can't. They were kept at bay by that molly.
All right, so that's sheer wall was just
Ih,
so they know
timing parah.
It might be been able to stabilize the round, but still have to fight this retake.
Tapi lagi-lagi biasanya kalah ya.
Pajor headed over towards that speedway, but he does get pinged out by a 0 point. They know he's here.
Gak kelihatan, gak kelihatan.
Comes through. Rather the paranoia.
I don't know if I want to see the replays of this round. I might just want to move on.
Yeah.
Ini bukannya map buat defender ya?
We are going to see the replay because we must.
Yeah, I suppose we must. Okay, I changed my mind. I do want to see what happened again.
Trap play here.
The Leaf takes this fight against Cortez. He's forced out with the sheriff, but then I mean, he just leaps out there. I mean, they are thanking Art Zin for actually playing back towards spawn and just spraying for some kills.
He really kept a lid on it there in CT.
All right, G2. They've cobbled together what they can after forcing that round.
Okay, just a pretty standard fast hit here. This time, George's going to have that back up if they try and go in. He does dash over towards Market. Enough time to get the gun up. It is a stinger, though.
It's not going to refract. Staying committed to that logs position.
Oh, that's a mid-push.
She finds an opening. That's the off removed.
Sheer wall got triggered, but it's going to be TP'd over, so all of G2 can be here at B. And there's the last layer of defense cleared from that side. Bizarre rounds. Hard to predict, hard to call, but bloody exciting.
Iya.
Shannon after a high-octane sequence of plays.
We'll have a low-octane death
say
awaiting him.
Saya langsung.
Yeah, laboured. A flawless round for G2 to end the half. We're keeping it close here. Absolute bloody haymakers being thrown by both sides.
Some bizarre final.
Bukan ada half-time nggak? Emang langsung.
Oh, he's quick with it, isn't he?
And then Cortezio was caught with the flash. His position on lane was just way too open for players that were going to be swinging out from main.
Eyes towards the future. MIBR must win this map. G2 get 6 attack side rounds. So much rests on the pistol, which we'll be seeing when we come back after this short break. 1v6 attack side rounds from G2 from the first half of a set, but it took them a pistol round win, a conversion of the anti-eco, and 2 magnificent clutches from Valo to get there. That's a lot of work.
Even that final round was a bizarre half by. I mean, it was a full force rather, with some bad guns that they win. A strange half of Valorant has left us at 6-6. With MIBR's hopes of making it to the grand finals hanging in the balance of whether or not they can win this map. G2 trying to make another grand final. It would be their 3rd in a row. All the tournaments that they played this year would have them in the grand finals if they could just close out on Ascent.
At this point in the series, you're fatigued, strung out. Sometimes all that remains is that hunger to win.
And there's definitely an experience difference between these two teams when it comes to best of 5. G2 have played a number of them with this core team over the years, whereas MIBR just have the one to their name, which was a loss to Sentinels in the lower finals of kickoff.
How much is that going to matter? MIBR. Some pretty complex pistol rounds in the past. This one is very straightforward. Let's go to A. Let's set up. Let's get a plant. Let's hold.
Got those thorns to delay any players coming back in heaven too early from G2. Aspas is weak. Dash across from Jaw.
Unharmed so far. Jaw. Aspas very low though. Just a paltry 10 health to his name. But MIBR being very careful about this. Not only committing on the retake, but Artazine steps out and is shut down. Underneath the check hell, Aspas is there, still gets a kill with 10 HP as only he can. But now Verno and Cortesi have to spam on in. They want to push it. Oh, he's caught with util in his hand. Dodging, ducking, dipping, diving, dodging. They're trying to finish the job. G2 with both pistols on a set. That's got to be a weight off the shoulders.
If they can't do it with 2 pistols, a 1v2 and a 1v3, man, I don't know if they deserve the map win. If MIBR can run it all the way back, that would be pretty sick. Not even run it back. I mean, the fact that saving this game is ridiculous to begin with. They really wanted to play off of the arc rose that Cortesia flashed. Like, you get the sound cue, obviously, and that's the moment where Artson jumped out.
Nice. Oh, he's hitting this. He's hitting this. Try. Look at him.
But it was Jaw who got that free kill because of their willingness to aggress. And unlike G2, MIBR, not a fan of the second round force after getting the spike down.
Get to the side though, Valen there to meet them. Spectre rings out. Leaf gets a hand on it as well. 3 quick ones. Then Cortesi is reeling. Forced to look on. Paranoid.
Asli dibantai-bantai.
Leaves 2 very fast rounds of Valorant. 1 orb away from getting that steel garden already. And that could have some massive value on a bonus round versus the full buy. If he can get 1 orb and get that off in a
Jarak jauh, apaan coba?
The other team with the stingers, that is
I'm literally trick-shotting on them. Good.
How do you have the levity in a game like this to play that way? Only Leaf, man. Again, shot back up to the top of the scoreboard. Yeah.
20-9. This stretch of games from him has been outrageous. I mean, Leaf was the star player in my eyes of the G2 kickoff run, and I think he might be putting up crazier numbers than he was during that kickoff run.
It's not just nonchalance. He's giggling like a school child.
He's having fun.
Yeah.
Can you blame him?
I mean, I don't know if it's a long series, I'll be stressed, but I'm glad he has the room to enjoy himself a bit. I don't know if I could say the same for his coach or his fans, but here we are.
Trying to explore up cat with Aspas in this mid-round in the meantime, using the stealth nerd to get up mid. They are going to have to put some effort into getting that sheer wall procced in mid. Shenham in trouble after being blinded up by the paranoia. Has to acquiesce a main, but Aspas finds a great timing. Won't get instantly traded, but is doomed.
No chance to get out of there. Frankman claims that Jonah wants more. Maybe the weapon. Yep, gets himself the Vandal. Here's Trent lining it up now. This is going to slow things up a little bit. And still Jonah is claimed. That's another kill through mid. Jonah hung around, insisted on fighting for more. And that's going to make the A push for MIBR quite viable. They got across mid, but Valen isn't attending it.
Time is dwindling a bit, but it doesn't look like G2 should be in position to stop this plant unless they really heavily accelerate. Trent doesn't even have missiles right now. Valen trying to hold down this cross, but he just can't do it. Walks into the stun.
Oh, there it is. Trent caught. Valen trades it. Now there's rifles to get. Valen might now have a window to pick it up. Numbers even. Valen gets the Bulldog. Jorg still with the Stinger, but look, he does have the ability to get in. We just need to back up. This could be hard-hitting, fast play from G2. They're geared for it.
Valen upgrades again.
In we go! Jorgamo says Geronimo, and it's Valen to trade off him. Shenum low, Valen with 3. And a miracle clutch.
God.
Couldn't be replicated at the third time. Shenum will cut him down.
Had to dink through the box as well on Shenum. So finally, someone figured out how to stop Valen in a clutch situation. Needed to happen eventually.
God, he and Leaf
my
again are
God.
just running rings around it though.
It's insane. Him and Leaf have a combined 38 kills right now. 38
To the rest of his team's 14. Yeah.
Absurd. Absolutely absurd. MIBR barely getting away with the round win. And now they're forced up into this with a couple Guardians, a lot of light armors, and Leaf keenly aware of the economic situation and the implications it's going to have on that buy. He's got the Outlaw.
So even though it was a losing round, G2 knock MIBR down a peg such that they can make some of these concessions and still have impact in the round. That is to say, the Outlaw is online. Almost everybody on MIBR. Nothing in market, says Verno. Sheer wall, though, is lying in wait.
That's the thing, yeah, great. You're stealth-droned up there, but as long as the wall remains in the position, G2 don't have to be that concerned.
No pings off that 0 point, so they know no one's playing close. Oh, the double up here in tree is going to be tough to break for MIBR. Jonah can stall now. Sends a 0 point, gets more info. Aspas says, we kind of got to go through here. We've got no choice but to brute force the issue.
Oh, just Jingle peeking at B main, catches the lurk Cortesi as well.
Aspas is just unhinged, unchained, unshackled from, earthly delights. He's brought down.
Spike down A.
And G2 put a stop to this.
All on Shenum to go and save. That's his
Yeah.
only option. The economy is thoroughly crushed for MIBR.
10 seconds
Something on the
left.
exit would be nice for him, but there'll be someone to play off of this. Another rifle strip from him. Aspas, the only player with enough to buy, so this is a grim-looking round for MIBR and a chance for G2 to derive one of the biggest leads we've seen in the last couple of maps.
Jonah on that right angle, and then the jiggle peek from Jaw. I mean, that's just a miserable way to lose 2 players. It's giving G2 so much info across the map, though, that they are taking those peaks consistently, and they have the sheer wall in mid that is never actually being procced until there is serious presence in mid from MIBR that would imply a B hit is coming, or B split, rather.
Now, this might look like a pretty innocuous timeout, but this round 17, round 18 especially, probably the most important of this map. G2 are threatening now to start to run away with it. They're easing in, getting comfortable on this defense side. Leap's cooking. Has that Outlaw still to hand? A weapon that's going to be just as relevant likely in this round than it was in the prior one. Steel Garden available should they be pushed. Valon's been electric as well, 19 and 10. And it might be what do they have to hang their hat on? Verno's been the standout, but outside of that, not a lot of bright spots for the Hope of Brazil.
So when we get back into this MIBR, they are going to be on a half-buy round. So assuming that G2 win this, which, they should statistically, they're going to be at 10-7. And then on that next round, both teams are going to have almost all of their ultimates ready to go. And that will determine, or should determine, typically, if G2 are going to close out this map, get the win in this series, or if MIBR can actually make a little run at a comeback here, and get back into this, try and get us to Fracture, try and get to map 5.
And G2 disrespected the Thrifty on that attack side. Don't know if they're going to run that back again. Trent deals with Shenum, does take a face full of damage. Cutting the attackers down by 1. Aspas is also very low as he tries to get on in. One shot would be enough.
Oh, he can't be getting away with that. How is he alive?
Not one shot hit there from Valo, that's rough. Jonah, though, still tucked here. Steel Garden now comes into play. Aspas has the primary jammed. Right click, though, will do pretty well here. And he's in trouble. Guardian now back online. Up against it, though, now hindered out by that Saturate. Leaf brings him down. It's a 2-on-1 for Verno. Lightning does the strike twice for him today. And there it is, that's a 3-round gap, well and truly opened up.
G2 are playing with serious confidence. I love the way that they're flooding back into the site there together, taking the fights together. They are not easing up. Was seriously concerned for a second when somehow Aspas managed to get that kill at door onto Valen. 20 HP, nothing connected onto him. That was a bizarre little situation, but G2 did not ease up. Leaf is still playing with the Outlaw right now.
It's still relevant.
It's still relevant. 4 MIBR players, and they're going towards him.
Yeah. They're like light armor locks. Okay, still gotten to start things with. Gets MIBR in. Aspas with an uncontested rifle. He's on that B side. G2 playing off them for the most part though, so no early casualties for the defenders. And the Razorvine snarl Verno up. He opts to stand in place.
There's that null command. Paranoia now coming through. Cortezia trying to fight close, but he's blinded up.
Got one that's going to have to be enough. Genom recovers and brings Giacomo down. Low though, he is. Stunned up. Pinged out. Now cleared from the corner. He's got no choice but to face the music. Now it's an even game. Null command was active, and here comes that Armageddon straight down Speedway. Verno knows it's coming. Puts it to good use now. Artazine has to take this one. Verno finds Valen with some util, and it's a KO battle. Trent beat Valen! And it's old reliable again. Clocks a crucial round.
G2 kayaknya
Gets
menang,
G2 to
Wak.
11.
This G2 team are too clutch. All of those situations have drifted their way this map. Whether it be Valen, Trent, it just doesn't matter. I loved how Verno was playing that. After the Armageddon, then getting the salvos down onto stairs, the 2 remaining players for MIBR fight together.
He motions the number 6 with his hands, because that is his kill total right now. But it's not about the raw number of them. Valen and Leaf have that taken care of. That kill, those 2, worth way more.
Now G2 are in prime position to close out this map. MIBR are forcing into this because they got the spike down, but that's resulted in Artsin just having the stinger. He has not been able to get things rolling on Ascent. He's had a great series up until now. So you're really looking at Aspas with this Blade Storm. Just barely survives the cross. He has been fantastic with this ultimate. He's gotten so many crucial kills.
Here's that attack side null command. It looks like Leaf might have been affected, so that sheer wall, yep, it's been nullified for now. One hurdle, literally. Jumped by MIBR. They're in the site, but Artazine is down. He didn't have a good weapon for it. He was looking for something. Aspas goes low.
That was scary. Engagement against Valen. Can he actually win this out? No, Valen. Headshot connects. 4-on-3. Advantage retake for G2 to get to match point.
So much pinned on this for MIBR. They don't have the money to run this kind of round back anymore. And there's an Armageddon for Trent. Potentially clear the bleachers off the side. It's going to force MIBR in the Speedway direction. Cut down their options to fall back. Verno's able to avoid damage that comes in, but here comes a Speedway push. Verno stopping power. It's going to be Trent again. Are you kidding? Back to back
Asli.
And that's match point. Now secured.
Satu round lagi
They
menang.
won't ease up.
Tapi posisinya
This G2 team,
Miber
they are
kayaknya
not
udah
slowing
kena
down. They
mental.
are way too clutch.
Udah nggak bisa menurut aku.
MIBR did so much right, and it just did not matter. This kill from Valen is huge to open up B main, get them into that 4-on-3 situation, and it looked like MIBR playing around some of that twice utility they still had would have been enough.
What a round. What a crucial one. MIBR. Last chance saloon for the hope of Brazil to get into our stage finals.
They've got another buy, they got the spike down, they're getting the loss bonus.
They've got to do it without the final boss himself.
Aspas
4
sudah
players squad of
mati.
MIBR. Now, is it a snake you cut the head off or a hydra? Does another one grow back? It's time to find out. Onto that B side, Shannon handles Valen! Joda falls quickly, traded out now, numbers even. G2 with a respectful distance to the site, they're playing off of it. There is a sheer wall in B main by the looks of things, and if this isn't read into, Trent will be on the wrong side of it for a
ngapain
time.
maju?
Snappy from Jaw. So fast, has the convergent paths now, let those loose on the site so the players from B main can get out, and that should seal it up. That should get G2 into another grand finals.
Here we go, time to get him out!
Wih, mantap Arjin.
Stops him in their tracks! Jaw has to go for it now. Dash forward, 2 dashes, it's not enough.
Asli,
Plucky IGL Artazine.
laki parah dapat 2 langsung.
He has not been able to make his mark on this
Mukanya
descent map until
serius
that
banget
moment
MIBR.
to keep his team
Tidak ada
in the
senang-senangnya.
game.
Doubles his frags.
And because these rounds have gotten so close, insane shot from Jaw, as was this follow-up that he hit later in market. But because these have just been coming down to the one-on-one clutches, G2 are actually on an eco
We're out of
now.
money.
They're already out of cash. MIBR have an opportunity here to get to 9, but G2, they are the experts of the Stinger.
And it's a huge lead for defenders to have on Ascent. Just make that very clear. Cortesia, oh, that's ugly. That's a rifle, just hand it over.
How do MIBR respond? They just try to get into A fast? That's what G2 want them to do. They're playing
Tick-tock,
into their hands.
tick-tock.
This is where the vice is set up.
Leaf's waiting on the other side of the door to greet the Martazine. Riddled with bullets. Switch team.
Udah fix kalah ini mah.
Leaf goes to work on them.
Langsung saja guys, kita latihan aja guys. Kamu rasa ini kayaknya miring deh kursi. Tuh bener banget, ini ada kayak apa ini? Ntar, ini mouse-nya kayak ada kotoran gitu. Ih bener banget, mouse-nya kata aku juga kotor. Mana yang ngilanginnya ya? Works. Kita bersihin mouse dulu guys. Rencana tidak ada yang tahu. Nah, licin. This is how the end. Aku main dulu smash. Habis ini aku main satu match dulu. Papa para papa para 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 para. Jih. Suruh nge-restart. Oke guys, sebentar dulu guys. Kita harus stop dulu.